Yeah, you lose all the little things that you never think about. And this is the thing, you're losing the little touches. Hi there guys, Sam here. Welcome back to another video. Join me once again in my Mark 7 Golf R to go through why, well, some of the kind of negative thoughts around the Mark 8 Golf R and kind of new cars in general. So I'll get straight into the video really. So yes, as I posted on my community post on YouTube yesterday, I sort of asked the question around, well, I'll put a screenshot up on screen as well. Yeah, what don't you like, what you would kind of want to see? And I've kind of asked this question kind of ongoing as kind of the months have been going through, because I kind of want to gauge your thoughts on where, well, you think kind of new hot hatches are going, like the Mark 8 Golf R, what you want to see, what you don't want to see. So I'll go through those answers towards the end of this little video clip. But first I'll go through kind of my thoughts. And I guess the first point, which some of them are loosely related to some of the comments that you lot have put on. And I should stress, actually, I want to try and get this negative stuff out of the way before the car is actually released to focus on the positives of it, because I'm really happy that VW have been able to make a nice hot hatch in a world dominated by massive SUVs, which in no way a 3-ton car is good for the environment. So to make a nice hot hatch, yeah, fair play to them for that. But let's just go through the things that are not so great about the Mark 8 Golf R. So we already know quite a lot about it now. I mean, we're sitting here on the 22nd of October, and there's been more sort of testing around the Nürburgring of it. And basically the looks of the car and the kind of final product is already 99% known. There's a link above if you want to see some latest, basically the final images of the Mark 8 Golf R. So yeah, please click on that. It's one of my best, highest views videos actually at the moment. So please continue to support that, and thank you for that. Now, the one problem with new cars, and it always seems to like conform with what people want, the majority want, rather than what is actually probably right. The one thing I want to talk about is the fact that it's not going to be in 3-door. For me, hot hatches are 3-door cars. You know, that's what's always been known for me when I was kind of growing up. That's what, yeah, sparks my interest. I've only actually ever owned a 3-door car. Now, I know different regions might have different sort of needs, but certainly in the UK, hot hatches, that's kind of what it's been known as. My Golf R is currently 3-door. Mark 8, no 3-door. It's just completely gone. I think there's a, you know, aesthetically, everyone's opinion, but I think it looks slightly better. You get benefits of the fact that most people who drive a car tend to either have 1 or 2 people in it, which means you're not actually losing any kind of ability to get in. And actually, it's slightly easier with a bigger door. Weight-wise, you save weight because you're having 2 less doors. Cost-wise, you tend to save money. I wouldn't have been able to buy, you know, a brand spanking new 5-door, you know, all specced out Golf R. You know, I look and I try to be clever and try to get the best value I can. And this enabled me to get into a great car because it was 3-door and it was slightly less. Structurally, it's slightly better, which means actually, like handling-wise, it's a little bit, yeah, it's a little bit more put together. You know, all subjective kind of feeling on that front. And obviously, because it weighs less, even if it is, say, 10, 20, 30 kilos, you save on fuel, you gain more performance. There's all these little benefits which just add up and just, yeah, I always thought was a great thing. And I think, yeah, it's a real shame that they're not going to have it. You know, you know, sometimes I'll look back on my car and I'll be like, yeah, it looks good. It kind of has that, you know, lots of people like their, like the 4 Series BMW coupes and stuff. And obviously the looks of them are the main thing, but actually practicality, they're not actually that great. Whereas this, you get kind of the looks. You don't really lose anything on the practicality front too much. And yeah, you can kind of think of it as your own little... Not everyone can afford a Ferrari FF, which is a 3-door, 4-wheel drive, high-performance car. You know, this is a 3-door, 4-wheel drive, high-performance daily car. And I kind of look at it like that. And it just makes it stand out a little bit more. And a bit more unique to what you kind of see around, because yeah, I think when you're spending this sort of money, like the Mark 8 Golf R at 40 grand, I am getting to a point here somewhere. You know, you want to look back on it and think, yes, you know, I've made the right call, you know, subtle yet cool and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, to lose 3-door, I think in general cars, new cars, doesn't make any sense to me. Why they're sort of pushing it back to like very small hatches doesn't make sense to me. You know, this is a hatch which can easily work as a 3-door. Yeah, that's just me. I don't understand why they're not doing it, but it just seems what the majority want, and that's what they're going for, even though you save on emissions, you save on so much stuff, you save on production of building an extra 2 doors, you know, times that by 100,000, a million cars. It's all saving stuff. So that stuff really frustrates me, why they go down the route of just, yeah, of that kind of stuff, particularly as people who would go for this car tend, you know, potentially are car enthusiasts. So there should be a gap for them to have, you know, yeah, that's just my thought. Second reason, and this doesn't apply to all regions, is the whole manual gearbox thing. Doesn't look like it's going to have one. Again, saves weight, less complexity, can sometimes be better of emissions because of that. Fair enough, it doesn't have the smooth ability of a DSG gearbox to be able to potentially save on fuel and save on the environment, and is not as fast, but it's involving, it's simple, it's easy. It's what a hot hatch for me is all about. And those are the quite core things which are kind of lost in new generation cars such as this, and it's a real shame. You know, I think it's a big loss for people who are after those kind of things. The third reason has to be costs. It's just spiraling quite heavily out of control. You know, I was quite surprised when I spoke about the ID3 being 29,990 after a government grant. You know, it's going to be like 38,000 more than that if you want to spec it up. That's not particularly affordable. You know, my channel's been a lot about fast Fords, fast VWs, to extent Porsches as well. And okay, it's tougher to be able to afford a Porsche, but all the stuff that I talk about is potentially attainable for the majority of people. You know, you can afford a fast Ford, you know, we did, and we have. You can afford a fast VW, you know, a Golf GTI, the people's car. You could potentially, if you want that little sports wagon, get into a Porsche. Okay, it might be used. You know, I couldn't afford a top-of-the-range, highly priced one, but, you know, you can get Porsche Boxsters sort of like, what was it, around like the 996 time per generation in the 2000s for less than £5,000. So, and the running costs and all that kind of stuff, reliability means it's attainable. It's just stepping out of that reach, and it's making it more for, you know, the 1 or 2 people who have hundreds of thousands or millions of pounds spare to be able to have like loads of different cars and to be able to buy, you know, 40, 50, 60,000 pound hot hatches. Doesn't make sense to me. I love how hot hatches are universally loved, really, and they make so much more sense. I touched on at the start of the video than like SUVs. 3.5 ton SUV, electric or not, just doesn't look right in today's world when you're trying to do all this stuff to save the environment, trying to be better. It doesn't make sense at all for me, and little cars like this do. And it's almost like they're just trying to phase them out completely. And yeah, it's certainly not it's not looking particularly positive where you look at like future cars, future hot hatches are sort of coming into the fray. Price has got to something extraordinary, and it doesn't help by the likes of like Mercedes and even Audi with the RS3s. You know, £60,000 on a hot hatchback. I mean, yeah, it doesn't make any sense to me in society. And I know people can get it on finance and stuff like that. You know, to be able to get that kind of car, you almost got to be a millionaire by my kind of man maths, basically. But yeah, it's a bit of a ranty video, but I kind of wanted to get it out there because I think hot hatches mean so much to me as a car enthusiast. And it's just like, it just feels like it's being lost. You know, there's nothing game changing. There's no like for me, potentially this car, Mk8 Golf R, maybe it should have had a hybrid, some sort of hybrid turbo, hybrid power plant, just to step it up, raise the game a little bit. Again, in the UK, we've sort of discounted hybrids. They basically said, get rid of those, it's all about electric. When manufacturers have put billions of pounds into hybrid technology. So just something to, yeah, push us in the right direction. But with VW, it's very much ID3, we'll keep the Golf going, the Golf will eventually just completely go, and the whole thing that's been built up for so many years and people have loved and enjoyed is going to go. And that's just the way it's going to be now. And that's kind of why I'm doing this in sort of a ranty way. Because, yeah, in years to come, it's just not going to be yeah, it's just not going to be a topic of conversation about new hot hatches, which is really, really sad. Certainly not the way that we know it. You know, I just don't believe that this nice little 2-litre engine is the reason why, you know, we might have global warming, we might have loads of issues. You know, there's just no way. Yeah, so that is my kind of initial random rants about the Mark 8 Golf R of stuff that I would rather prefer. And that's not looking back to saying, oh, you know, I'm just a purist, you know, too busy worrying about the stuff in the past and what's happening in the future. You know, I'm all for new and amazing technology, but it doesn't mean what we had in the past, they didn't work. You know, but apparently it's what the mass people want. People want SUVs, and that is basically the way the world will eventually turn into as we get nearer and nearer towards the end of this decade in 2030. So yeah, interesting times. But there's my kind of thoughts. But anyway, I posted this question in on my community page, and I will go through some of other people's thoughts basically. So you're not just thinking, oh, this is just Sam ranting. I know a lot of my channel, you know, you're probably engaged to me and my thoughts, and I appreciate that. And you know, I have a different of opinion to other automotive YouTubers in the world. You know, I like to think I'm a little bit more real world. I don't have millions of pounds in the bank or millions to invest in a YouTube channel, or anything to invest in a YouTube channel other than my time. But yeah, so I asked the question. I actually got quite a lot of responses. Bear in mind I only did it late last night, so I appreciate that. First person said the lack of a 3-door option is a really big loss. Especially considering every Golf up until now has had a 3-door version. That's the biggest blow for me. Yeah, that is a problem, you know, particularly if you're following it along the lines. They still sold some of them, so I don't get that. Other people saying when you're playing through the nose for a car that costs, well, they're saying £36,000, it should at least have the option of a manual and a 3-door car. The scratchy plastics of the Mark 8 Golf R, yes, I've mentioned that in previous videos as well. It's not really premium. Yeah, you lose all the little things that you never think about. And this is the thing, you're losing the little touches. And that's what I mentioned before in previous videos on my channel. Like the gas strut, you lose that. You lose, like, well, this person's saying you lose the sunglasses holder. I didn't really know that. But yeah, it's just these little bits which people actually use. Yeah, so it's not so great on that side. It's going to have a GPF, OPF filter, so it's not going to be sounding as good. That's just... Again, it adds more weight. How that is good for the environment, I don't know. And yeah, I've heard also from like tuning companies that OPF filters are actually, yeah, they affect the engine in such a way that it means like cleaning them out or something is not as good. Yeah, there are downsides to it. Because remember, these are all bolt-on parts for cars manufactured from 2018 to 2020, where they've just basically bolted them on, so they're not really well thought out or designed. It's just a pure regulation that you have to put like a mask over your face, and no one knows how to do it. And the side effects, long-term side effects. The resale value will suffer because of its controversial looks, but as a technophobe, I love it. It's going to be a costly investment because of depreciation. Depreciation is appalling. I just don't... How people... It's not necessarily the cost. You know, yeah, people can afford a £40,000 car. I get that. But can you afford to lose 10 grand after 2 years? I don't want to lose 10 grand. I work hard for my money. I can't afford to lose that kind of cash. Yeah, and if you watch YouTubers doing it, they're doing it because they're getting the money off the video that they're showing of collecting their car, if that makes sense. So yeah, take it with a pinch of salt and just, yeah, watch your finances. Lots of negatives from Craig, long-term subscriber, so thank you. Can't get over the front end looks are all subjective, so I get that. It's too bland overall, it's going to be expensive, it's going to be underpowered. Yeah, 310 brake horsepower, even if it is the 330 that is quoted, it's not exactly like a game changer, you know. You're not going to... Are you really going to get out of bed for anything less than an extra 50 brake horsepower over this? I don't think so. Colour options in the UK, this is UK specific, colour options suck. There's the turmeric yellow, which looks quite cool. I do love my colour of my car, and obviously the Lapis blue. But yeah, in the States and Australia, you had like orange, green, Miami blue, and that looked really cool. But yeah, we don't get that here. A lot of cuss cuttings. It's going to sound not so great. other person says the back end doesn't look so great, it might grow on us. And that's the thing, cars do grow on people. You know, yeah, it just takes time. It builds itself into society, and then you realise, oh, that's something you see every day, so it actually looks quite good. So looks are all sort of personal. But anyway, a little bit of a ranty video, but I did want to share it because, yeah, I do feel a lot of car enthusiast pain, and I don't think if you watch other automotive YouTube channels and they're all positive and they're all happy, and then sort of under their breath they might be thinking, oh, well, actually, this is wrong, this isn't great, this isn't great. But they're never going to say that to you lot, because they're getting, you know, they want the cars. You know, they want to be given press vehicles and whatever to drive around in, and they want, yeah, that. And they're not going to jeopardize sort of slagging them off. So my channel's a little bit different. It's a little bit more independent. It's just me ranting on. And, you know, I do appreciate the last couple of years of, like, enjoying it. And, yeah, I feel the pain, basically, of what is kind of happening in the automotive industry. And I get we have to move with the times. But, you know, it's not just a case of, like, cutting a cord and forgetting what we've spent so much time and money developing fantastic cars. And now the biggest part of all these cars is the heart, which is the engine, which is now just apparently just the worst thing ever. I just completely disagree. I just think the way smaller petrol engines have come along is really impressive, really impressive. Okay, they're never going to be zero emissions, but you just look at the after effects of the costs of, like, electric vehicles and stuff. It's just mind-boggling. I heard, like, the ID3 has their whole plant in Wolfsburg, I think it is, in Germany, is all sustainable energy. It's all run from, like, windmill plants and all this kind of stuff, which is great, really, really nice there. So they can say, oh, we're zero emissions on building all this stuff. Well, it works for a company that, even after losing billions and billions of dollars off of Dieselgate, still is one of the biggest manufacturers in the world, and they have the money to be able to do that. Normal people cannot build a wind farm in their back garden to be able to have sustainable energy. So it's just not the future. And yeah, I just don't see, I just don't believe in it at all. So massively ranty video about the negatives of the Mk8 Golf R. Also, they've kind of forgotten about the whole fact that, you know, what this car meant to people. They should have built upon it, not just like, here it is again in Mk8 Golf form. That's what they've done. So, yeah, there's my disappointing facts about what I don't like about the Mk8 Golf R. Please don't unsubscribe from me because I'm speaking the truth. But I will stay on the positive side on what the car is going to be when it comes out, and you will certainly see more content of it. And yeah, I'm always interested in cars, like, just in general. I love how the GT4 RS sounds amazing on the Nürburgring, even with all the masks and filters and stuff it's got. So there is hope. There are manufacturers that are keeping it going, but they're eventually just going to get strangled. And by 2025, yeah, I mean, I'm not going to be on this channel banging on about electric cars unless it's like an IDR or something like that. So yeah, we will have to see. But anyway, let me know your thoughts in the comments, actually, if you weren't involved in that community post. And even if you were, you can still comment, obviously. It's a community channel, so let's talk together about it all. Slightly longer video, so I hope you've enjoyed it and you can, yeah, listen to me rant on. Yeah, I will reflect on what I think the Mk8 Golf R, what I would want it to be. Each to their own. Let's see what it's like. Let's enjoy it. But please let me know your thoughts in the comments, and thank you so much for watching. But yeah, plenty more content to come. Thanks for watching. Have a great rest of your day. Stay positive, and I'll see you again next time. Cheers, guys.